Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Simone. I'm here with another Plan With Me memory planning process in my September Daisy Dory. It's a standard size, and right now I'm just going through all the things that I picked to use. I realized last time when I worked on this that I needed some more sticker alphabets, so I pulled those from my stash. And now I'm just getting out my booklet out of my Foxy Fix standard size. It's a number 6. And I opened up my planner to read what I had done the past week because it's really hard to remember everything. So I take notes in my planner. And then I'm taking this Distress Oxide ink. I purchased one at Michael's because I just wanted to see how they work and how you could play. And then I used the packaging technique where you just spray or put some ink onto a plastic packaging, add some water, and then put it down and smush it on your paper or page. But I was really and absolutely surprised by the brightness of the color. I didn't really expect that. I should have tested it somewhere else before. But yeah, so last week I used lots of Linus Pots stickers because Anna, Coffee Can Anna, and I started a new video series where we test or purchase from a sticker shop every month. And I realized last week that even though I already have limited supplies, I use the Cocoa Daisy planner kits and those stickers, it's still quite overwhelming. And if you don't focus on a couple of things, I, at least for me, that's the rule. I just don't get to use all the things I want to use. So last week, I did not use any of the bird and typewriter stamps that came in the planner kit. So this week I decided to focus on those. And especially when you do the memory planning like I do and cram your pages full, this is something I really need to do before I actually start filling my page. Because once I filled my page, I don't have room for stamps. So I just placed those stamps not too randomly on my paper. You can see I set that one bird on the Tuesday. I put one on a line, so it's set someplace, or the one that I put on the die cut of the telephone. So I try to group them in places where they can rest on things. And I use the design that is already on the page, or I place something on the page so that it looks as if it was intended to be there. And that is actually most of how I work. I try to use the design that is on the page and start my embellishment clusters or my design elements from there, building on what is already there. And now what different from my other memory keeping processes where I started at Monday and then moved to Sunday, I realized that some of the elements that I want to have on the page, like repeating alphabets, and I don't want them to repeat only on Monday. I want one on Monday, and I want one on the bottom of the right page, maybe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that is what I'm working on right now. Is I'm placing those highlights, those focal points down on my page first. However, as you can see, I'm a bit confused about what happens when. So I start placing my sushi things, my sushi stickers on Wednesday when I realize, oh no, that's what I did on Tuesday. And then I did a lot of things on Thursday, and I actually wanted to have that checkbox list on Thursday. However, I put it down on Wednesday. And I only realized my mistake when I started writing down the things that I thought I had done on that day. And I no, that doesn't go together. I didn't go to the park when I did this. So I had to, I just used my whiteout and just covered it up with the whiteout and then made a list for Wednesday. It's not a big deal. I still like it. It's just, it didn't work out as intended. And then I'm using those October afternoon daily flash stickers. I purchased those because I thought they would work really well. I watched several YouTubers when I still lived in Germany, and they were always raving about those. But actually, I haven't really used those a lot since. And especially those scripty letters, they are very hard to use because they don't really nest together. It always looks very beginnerish, you could say. So yeah, I think I just need to get rid of them. I don't like the font that it makes. I like the letters by themselves, but when you put them together, it just doesn't look right. And yeah, so not going to use them again. Then I use just my handwriting to add different fonts, and those letters that I use for my handwriting, they are not hard at all. I don't practice any of those things like you would expect from people who are lettering artists, and I'm not calling myself that because it just looks nice because it's so crammed together. And it's always the same kind of technique. It's either a tall block letter font, and then I just double the down strokes, and then sometimes I fill out those, sometimes I leave them blank, sometimes I add tiny strokes so that it looks like it's striped, and that's what makes all the difference. So I know I put one down on Monday, so I think I need one more towards the bottom right. And yeah, I just add in things that happened every day, and I really refer back to my planner all the time, because that's what I realized when I did the last week with the Linus Pot stickers. I somehow forgot to write down notes of each day, and my planner was very work focused and focused on getting things done. So things like Linus forgot his iPad for the umpteenth time wasn't in that planner, and I didn't know when these things happened. Very interestingly, it's always the Wednesdays where I have a lot of room on my page. So I usually use a die cut or a larger sticker there. And again, I am trying it's really simple. So when I do something on the top left side, I try to do it on the bottom right side. When I do something on the bottom left side, I try to do it on the bottom right side. And you can see that those really very easy principles, they work all the time. It doesn't really matter what you do. Especially with those spreads, it works. And someone asked me in a comment of my last video what the rule of threes or the rule of thirds is. And the rule of thirds is a design principle that you can use in photography, layout design for magazines and stuff. So when you divide a page into 3 sections, vertically and horizontally, those are and on those intersections, this is where your eye goes first. So placing an element on one of those intersections makes it more pleasing to the eye. It doesn't mean that you have to do this all the time, because sometimes it's also very interesting if you do not follow the rule, and if your design is not pleasing to the eye, that makes it even also very, very noticeable, and it stands out. But as a general rule, I have noticed that when I follow this principle, um, it works really well, and somehow most of the designs and layouts just work and look as if they are meant to be. And then there is another rule that is called the rule of threes. That is actually taken from a writing element in literature. When you read things and people describe something, they often use three adjectives to describe that, whatever, the person, the experience. It's said in threes. So that is something that I also use. I don't know if I took it from literature, but I know that this is part of literary writing. And for instance, the sushi stickers, I didn't use two, I used three. And I often do that when I cluster embellishments or things. I try to use three elements. So that is something that just also makes it look intentional, makes it look complete, and probably it's taken from that exact same idea that they usually use in literature. Okay, now what did I do? I stamped the Simon. That was done right in the beginning, because again, if I don't stamp it in the beginning, I won't have room for him because he's such a large stamp. And I stamped him on Friday the 15th because guess what? It was Cocoa Daisy sneak time. And again, I love seeing Anna marking this day in her planner. And so even though I don't mark him in my planner, I added it to my memory keeping spread. And again, I am using the same lettering as I did on the Monday because, as I said, I'm trying to balance it out. And this is a way for me to balance it. So let me just talk quickly before the video ends about the Distress Oxide. I used it as smooshing technique, watered it down a bit, and it actually bled through. So if you don't want this to happen, you shouldn't use that in your Daisy Dory, but it really works well as stamping. It had a very crisp image and I was very surprised. So for me, this is something I will look into and getting more, because they don't bleed through in stamping and they are good for using in mixed media. Oops, I'm already on overtime. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Until then, bye!